science.
Divided with the blood of 1,000 men and women was filled within these walls. Limbs twisted and broken, eyes gouged from bloody sockets, flesh burned black.
Please. No way to death. In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes. What you have to realize is that we're all just a mouse that a cat has by the tail.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-public number.
Warning, the following show contains conservative posturing, radical Christian ideas, and may offend pagans, Wiccans, Islamic fundamentalists, and other unenlightened individuals. Callers and guests may be subjected to brash and offensive comments by the hosts and any other type of bullying tactics available. But that's okay. We know why you're here.
This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system.
Tonight is Monday, November 12th, 2007.
Welcome one, welcome all to World of the Unexplained. This is your host, Jay Scott.
And this is Chuck Browder.
That's right. Third Rail Radio is going to be coming at you live pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. We're gonna kick that off soon.
We're thinking next week.
Next week will work, sure.
We're going to drop a bomb on you guys.
Why not? Next week. We're going to do it next week. Next Wednesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on OmniSound Radio 1.
For sure.
As well as Robin Valley in Omaha, Nebraska.
Sweet.
And I'll see what I can do to track down some more like-minded individuals to give us our political rant some more airtime.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. But I think I've already got the first guest in mind, and I've got a couple more I can line up. And then we'll try to start getting some political candidates into the arena and see how they fare against our conservative libertarian
see if they can hang, man.
Yeah, definitely. I do have something I want to play for everyone, though. Let's see here.
What is that? Oh, I got you.
This is good. I like. There is no fear of marijuana here.
Why would there be?
Yeah. So anyway, that was just a snippet from one of our other episodes earlier. I thought I was going to use that for something fun for the political show because, well, we all know that all libertarians are marijuana smokers. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Tonight we've got some interesting stuff coming up. We've got a guy named Russell Altman who has a product that he claims can do some pretty extraordinary stuff, and we're gonna get with him later.
Geritol?
No, not Geritol. This
better?
is Geritol Complete, baby. This is a new. I guess it's not really a new idea, but it's the way it's packaged is very new. It's called Nutrasilver, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. The call-in number, as always, 1-877-722-7382. That's 877-722-7382. So for the first hour, we're going to have him on. Speaking of politics, though, as it rolls, I was watching Sicko last night, the Michael Moore film. Have you seen it?
I have not yet. Although Fox News, as you probably saw, gave it a 2 thumbs up review.
Really?
Yeah, they loved it.
You're kidding me.
No.
And this was not sarcastic.
No, not at all. In fact, when it was debuting at the theaters for the theatrical release, they did quite a bit to help promote it, and it was, for the most part, positive.
Well, Dee lived over in England for a while, and when he was over there, he was talking about the healthcare. We were talking about this earlier on the way to the show. Oh, just scrunch right in here, Dee.
That's right, I'm coming right on.
No phone operating for you for now. What did you think of the socialized healthcare there?
Well, I'd have to say for people that are like our age over there, it's not so great. I mean, if you were an elderly person over there, then yeah, it was good for you. Or if you had young children or something, yeah, it was great.
Well, you can have, we were talking about, you can have babies for free there.
Yeah, you can have babies free on that, the centralized health care that they have out there. But other than that, it didn't really benefit me at all.
I would hate to have their nationalized dental care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen the British teeth have.
No,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Well, tell them about
Python's.
Well, wait a minute. Tell them about the experience you had at a dentist in a British dental office.
All right, well, what happened is we went into the office. We made our appointments. When we went in, we were going in for our yearly cleaning, that kind of stuff that you do every
teeth
year.
cleaning, yeah.
We go in. My wife goes first. They clean her first front 2 teeth and her bottom 2 teeth. And he goes, all right, you're done. That was it.
That was it. 5 minutes, huh?
Yeah, 5 minutes. She was in and out. And
I need to be a
like,
dentist in
I was like, I
England.
could have done that much just brushing my teeth at home.
But these are the extreme positions of somebody like Michael Moore. I don't think you're going to find anyone in the Democratic race, maybe save Dennis Kucinich, who agrees with those positions and instituting policies such as those.
You know what really bothered me the most? He interviews this doctor
In Cuba?
No.
Okay.
This I haven't watched the whole film yet. I've only seen about half of it. It was late last night when I turned it off. But he interviews this doctor in England, and he asks him, so they don't pay you much then. And he was basically hitting the way Michael Moore always does in all his films, where he's being utterly sarcastic and moronic. And he's like, well, no, I do okay. Apparently they pay him around £85,000 a year, which is equivalent to almost $200,000.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No, and then
But they're actually state employees.
Yeah, he lives in
They're
a
state employees.
he lives in a £500,000 a year, house, so it's about $1 million home, and so Michael Moore's like, well, you're doing all right then, and it's like basically ask him, well, what if something about the U.S. system. He's like, well, yeah, if I wanted 5 Mercedes and a $3 million home and this and that and the other, then I can see where. Well, that's where capitalism comes in, and that's why,
That's why plastic surgeons are so successful in this country.
I should have been. I told you, always wanted to be a plastic surgeon.
It kind of seems nasty after seeing it on Discovery Channel and some of these other.
Well, just so I could
science
tell
tech.
people I did breast augmentation for a living. I'm the boob doctor. Come see me.
You probably get tired of them if you saw them.
Yeah, you're probably right, but it would be kind of fun to say.
Well, what? Look, after the first 5-6 years, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, I'll become a boob doctor one day. That's my new goal in life, gentlemen. Yeah,
That's a lot of schooling.
I know. It's okay. I've been through it before.
You'll be a PhD and a lawyer.
That's right. MD, actually.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you do on the stuff? Yeah, I'm a boob doctor.
That's right. It's
Just
my
like
side. It's my side thing.
that Dr. Cyril Wecht.
Yeah, there we go. JDMD.
You guys would be in a very, very exclusive club, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, but I guess we'll go ahead and give our guest a call here in a little bit. He's going to scramble on back there. Politically speaking, though, what do you think of the way things are shaping up now in the presidential race, Chuck?
Well, everyone's making a big to-do about how Hillary Clinton's fallen from grace. She took a few hits in that last debate, and I don't know. It doesn't really seem like anyone's really capitalizing on it. All the numbers still seem to be about where they were. Maybe she's lost a little the ground she's gained.
And what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that she's going to get the nomination, or are you still pretty dead set that you think it's going to be a surprise?
I still think that there's a pretty good chance she's still going to get it. I'd say that there's probably still at least a 66% chance she gets it. I really don't think Obama is really even a realistic candidate nationally, or even.
I agree with you, but my whole thing is I think that would be a gift to the Republican Party.
What, to nominate Hillary?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and they seem pretty disenchanted with a lot their top tier candidates, from Romney, Thompson. Who are the other ones? Other than really Huckabee, no one, and he doesn't have any money. It doesn't really seem that they have anyone.
This is what happens when you leave your cell phone on, and I need to get that too because it's about somebody else later on tonight. You think you can swing this?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
All right. Great.
But no, as far as my calling this whole thing, I see Huckabee doesn't have the money. The base doesn't particularly like any of the top tier candidates.
Okay.
So therefore,
Do we have a caller already?
I guess so, man. Somebody's anxious to talk to us.
Apparently. Go ahead and throw them on there.
Why not?
This is Ron.
Hey, what's
Hey,
going
what's
on,
up, man?
Ron? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, guys. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great.
Did you mean to call us?
Yeah, I know. I just called right in. Well, I called in on the OmniSound line. It's like you got to select option 4 to get transferred to the World and Unexplained. I wanted to see if it was even working tonight. So I call in to say, hey, how are you? God bless you guys. I hope you're doing well.
You can hang on the line. Russell's getting ready to come on. I'm going to let Chuck and Trent take over.
Yeah, it's just a madhouse
I'll be right back
here tonight.
Okay.
So how you doing, Ron?
I'm doing pretty good.
Right on, right on. We were just talking about the Republican primaries, man. You know, how no one really could galvanize their base other than Hillary, because they don't really seem all that psyched about any of their top-tier candidates. The one they kind of seem psyched about doesn't really seem to have any money, being Huckabee. I mean, what's your take on this, man?
You know, I don't know. I like the way that Hillary is maneuvering within the Democratic Party, but it's really hard to tell who's going to be on top when just a few more months have passed, because right now I don't see a whole lot of consolidation of an actual platform. I hear a lot of people putting forth their opinions, but I don't see anybody like taking, you know, aside from the S-chip issue, there hasn't been like a political fight that people were willing to risk a lot and distinguish themselves, I guess, except for individual issues that they've been touting, you know, from the beginning.
Well, it almost seems like she's running very early in a general election mode. She's already consigned herself to already having won the nomination, and she's trying to run more and more towards the center, especially on that issue with Elliot Spitzer up in New York with the driver's license for illegals. Which, from what my kind of take on it is that it's his attempt as an executive up there to document undocumented illegals living in New York State.
Right. Well, I mean, as the governor, he's responsible for them. They're technically are wards of the state. They're treated just like anybody on vacation. So for purpose, and, you know, New York City obviously is always under tremendous threat that they might be attacked by some group of crazy people. So not even that, but the whole state of New York, and that he has to be responsible for where people are going to go, how he's going to deal with things. He just wants some accountability. If you have to look and you've got, you know, 100,000, 200,000 people with no ID, or they all have the same ID number, it's really hard when you have to put up some kind of security to say, well, what are you going to do with these people? It's like a situation that has to be resolved somehow.
Well, it's also I think part of it being it's partisan. Spitzer is a Democrat. I think he's kind of throwing it in Bush's face. Well, you haven't done anything about this. You know, there's no national security ID. Or national ID that's been instituted. You know, there's a lot of talk about that after 9/11. Also, you know, he hasn't really passed a border security or an amnesty bill or, you know, whatever you want to call it. He hasn't managed to make any headway on that as well. So I think this is Spitzer kind of just throwing it in Bush's face. You know, showing that maybe he's possibly a better executive up there in New York State than Bush is, you know, of the United States.
Well, yeah, it definitely is, you know, pushing the envelope for the issue. And I've been trying to do some exploratory type of, you know, logical applications of how could the situation be approached of illegal immigration. I mean, I think the best approach is, you know, well, obviously, since I'm pushing civil defense when I usually call in, that's what I end up talking about. But is that if you have an operational civil defense plan that works based on the county of residence, you have people that could apply from outside the country and say, you know, if you have a national way of controlling this, and you call it in the business of designing things like an engineering control, you put the engineering control into the system, and then if people want to come from Mexico, they can literally look on the national list and see which county has availability that, like, the type of work they're looking for could maybe, you know, get processed into the system and be assigned to that county, and then as sort of an exchange for their citizenship or for confirmation of their citizenship would be participating in simple civil defense drills to remove the problem we were mentioning in the first place, which is a large number of undocumented people that the state is responsible for, whether, you know, the state likes it or not. Like, there are certain situations that requires the state to be responsible for every single person, and those are national emergencies are one of those situations. So for simple accountability, you know, I always say politically it would be a strong move for people to support more national civil defense that takes the burden off the individual county and even the state to some level. And I'm surprised I haven't heard any candidates really come forward strongly with this, especially the ones that are, you know, associated with the West Coast, like Republican Duncan Hunter. should be a champion of that.
Well, he doesn't seem to get any play at all whatsoever, Duncan Hunter, and I don't really get that either, because for a very long time he was the only guy in Congress, the only House member. Actually, he may have been the only congressional member, period, that had an immediate family member serving over in Iraq, and I think his son's done like 3 tours over there. Also, he was one of the first guys on board with this border security, or at least actually the whole border security fence. He was the one who managed to get congressional funds together to actually construct the fence that they have down there in San Diego. That's done a pretty good job, I guess, curbing it immediately there in that area.
Right, and I'm not a big fan of the whole border fence idea, because like I said, if it was up to me, I would activate civil defense along the border, and if people come in, instead of trying to stop and catch them and making it an illegal situation, would be come to the border and let's have some orientation classes and then release you in a regular manner into the country to fill places that there are, but to put some kind of regulation on it, even though that goes against a lot of people's natural will, because and I'm also a big advocate of separate sets of immigration and migration type rights for Canadians and Mexicans, because there's two countries that immediately join ours.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but we've got your buddy Russell Altman on.
This guy's incredible. I can't wait to hear him give his presentation. I'm going to shut up.
Russell, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Ron, I'm gonna let you go for a little bit, but I want you to call back later. Is that cool?
I sure will, man. Okay.
Okay, awesome. We'll talk with you later tonight again. Okay.
All right, Jay. You guys take care.
Thanks so much, buddy. How are you doing tonight?
I'm just incredible.
Now you've got a product that a lot of people aren't familiar with. They've never heard of before. It's called Nutrasilver.
Yeah.
Can you tell us our listeners of what this product claims to do and what it's about?
Well, we are very remiss in making claims. What we do is we point to FDA-certified lab reports that demonstrate the efficacy of this product. But in a nutshell, Jay, we have a product that is 100% natural mineral. It's not a biological product. It's not a drug. It's a natural mineral. And in 12 years, we've failed to find a pathogen that we could not kill.
Wow.
And for the listeners, our definition of pathogen is any organism under the heading of bacteria, virus, amoeba, protozoa, fungus, and yeast. So that would include Legionella, cholera, staph infection, candida. The list just goes on and on and on. And recent FDA-certified lab tests demonstrate conclusively this product has zero toxicity. So it's a very, very inexpensive natural mineral, and when it's taken properly and taken orally, actually creates some interesting miracles. We've seen people who have been absolutely terminal, who have had this remarkable recoveries in very, very short periods of time. Now, this product is not just confined to human health, but it has some very strong applications in the fruits and vegetable marketplace, where it functions as a shelf extender. What that means is that at present, when fruits and vegetables hit the shelves, they were not only picked prematurely and therefore lack nutrition and flavor, but they've been genetically enhanced to look real well, but there's very little flavor and nutrition in them. And traditionally, the average shelf life for most fruits and vegetables is 1 to 2 days. On average, in the United States, 50% of all fruits and vegetables wind up as spoilage. So that means if you go to the store and you buy a tomato, you've actually paid for 2.
Oh, I see. And so this stuff can actually increase the shelf life of the product.
Yes. What we want the growers to do is to pick their fruits and vegetables at the proper time when they're mature and they have the flavor and they have the nutrition. And simply to do a 30-minute wash in Nutrasilver and then continue with the packing process as if nothing had changed. What changes, the consumer gets a product that tastes incredible and gives them some real nutrition. And spoilage goes down to nearly zero because the shelf life of that fruit and vegetable is now between 2 and 3 weeks instead of 1 to 2 days. it's a serious windfall for the consumer and for the market, the distributor, because they don't have to endure razor-thin margins, and they have some very, very happy customers that want to eat their fruits and vegetables, and those are high profit if there's no spoilage.
Now, you've also, I'm sorry, you also said that this stuff can purify water.
Yes. The fundamental use of this product before I got my hands on it was never brought into the U.S. It was always sold to third world health departments, countries like China and India and Indonesia and Singapore and places like that. And what they would do is they would put the Nutrasilver in the municipal drinking water supplies. Most Americans don't know this, but the number one killer of humans on the planet is pathogenic water. So the citizens of those countries would drink the water that had Nutrasilver in them, and everybody stopped dying, and nobody got sick from the water. Case in point, Mexico has been using this product for 12 years. We have a letter from the Secretary General of the Mexican CDC, and the essence of his letter is that they've been using this for 11 or 12 years without harm to anyone. It's very cost-effective, and most Mexicans use the product to wash their fruits and vegetables, and also to make sure that their water is safe to drink. So we've had some stunning successes, but the real successes are just now beginning to emerge. As I said at the beginning, we've done some rather expensive tests at FDA-certified labs, and the kill rates have been astonishing. May I share with your audience an example?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sure most people out there, Jay, have heard of E. coli.
Yeah.
We got an FDA-certified lab to get a Petri dish that contained 8.8 billion cells of E. coli. And they put 1 drop of Nutrasilver in that Petri dish, and 30 minutes later, they had a 99.999% kill. There was literally nothing left to test. The same results showed up for Candida, for cholera, for Legionella disease. Most of the pathogens that have plagued mankind for thousands upon thousands of years are now being killed in less than 30 minutes with a natural mineral.
Huh. You know, that sounds pretty astonishing, but quite frankly, it also sounds too good to be true.
I'm having a little difficulty hearing.
That sounds pretty astonishing, Russell, but it also, we're working on it, but it also sounds a little bit, well, too good to be true. When you talk about it being a natural mineral, are we talking about one key component? Obviously, say Nutrasilver. I'm not going to assume that silver is one of the components, but what do you mean by natural mineral?
Silver is one of the components, Trent. But
yeah, there's only 2 things that are in this product. One is 100% natural silver. The manufacturer of this product owns the manufacturing facility and an adjacent silver mine, so they actually mine their own silver. And they have found a way of reducing silver down to a size called nano, N-A-N-O. And for us lay people, what that means is it's about 1/billionth of the size of a human hair. It is slightly larger than an atom. And what science has found is that when you get silver down into the small range like that, the smaller the particles, the more efficacy and kill power that the product has. What makes Nutrasilver unique is that 12 or 13 years ago, a Nobel laureate decided that he wanted to experiment using silver and a new substance called clustered water. And clustered water is nothing more than distilled water that has been electrically treated so that instead of O2, it's O3, O4, O5, as much molecules of oxygen as they want. The true magic in the product comes when those two are combined, and that's a trade secret proprietary method. This product is not patented because it's not possible to patent silver or water. So those are the only two ingredients. So when we say it's a natural mineral, we actually mean that. There's nothing else in it.
I see that, and I'm I'm also aware with actually some real medical products out there, such as Aquacell, where it's a type of wound dressing that incorporates silver threading, and it's used to facilitate healing. So I mean, I understand that there must be some kind of real results with this notion of silver, but that issue with the patent is kind of a problem for you guys. It would seem to me. I mean, how do you get around that?
I'm not understanding what the problem is.
Well, drugs need to have some kind of any kind of medicine needs to have some kind of a official documentation. But I mean, if you just have water and silver, clustered water and nano atomized silver, it would seem kind of difficult to really sell that or to. Well,
no. See, I mean, from a legal standpoint, the patent only protects the.
I think I understand your question.
Yeah, okay.
Let's speak to the patent issue first. It is not legal to patent natural minerals such as silver and water. And quite frankly, we do not want to patent on this product, because if we did, we'd have to reveal the trade secret way that we combine the two that gives it its efficacy. Case in point, the two countries that are notorious for duplicating other products are, of course, China and India. They've been huge customers for over a decade. Their scientists have been trying for over a decade to replicate this product without success. We're pretty confident that if someone ever does come along and figure out how to duplicate this product, we probably won't have a business left. The second part of your question had to do, I think, with regulatory issues in the U.S. as it may relate to claims vis-a-vis the Federal Trade Commission and the Food and Drug Administration.
That's right.
Under U.S. law, this product is sold as a nutritional supplement. It is not a drug. And the law says that if you make a medical claim to treat or cure or diagnose any illness, disease, or condition, that product is now considered a drug. So, for example, if I drank orange juice just because I wanted to drink orange juice, that's fine. But if I drank orange juice because someone told me it cured the cold, then that orange juice under current law is now a drug. It's no longer orange juice. So as long as we don't make claims, and we don't, we're fine. The only claim that we do make is that Nutrasilver purifies water, and we've been doing that successfully with millions of people around the world for over a decade.
Now, the website is www.nutrasilver.com. Let's get into some of the medical uses, and I know you're not making any claims here, but...
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to speak louder.
Oh, no problem. I wasn't speaking directly into the microphone. Not that you're making any medical claims here, but there is a use for this, or at least a lot of people believe that there's a use for this as far as medical treatment goes.
Yes.
This Morgellon, I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Well, actually, both are correct. Some people call it Morgellons, some call it Morgellons. But
okay.
There's a new pandemic disease that's encircling the globe because this pathogen has been released in the upper atmosphere. Every person on the planet has been exposed. And Morgellons is probably the most hideous disease imaginable. Briefly, the victim feels like they have animals under their skin biting and scratching them 24/7. They have severe neurological symptoms such as brain fog. They cannot remember what they said 1 minute ago. Most victims have severe chronic fatigue. That is to say, they'll sleep anywhere from 16 to 20 hours a day. They have severe digestive problems. Many have dental problems where their teeth just simply disintegrate and fall out of their mouths. I personally flew to Los Angeles and met with a medical professional. All of her body hair and all of her nails, her finger and her toenails, had fallen out. And then one of the final stages of this disease is the victim usually will get these non-healing open wound lesions covering their bodies. Everyone's different, so the degree of lesions are quite different from one person to another. The woman I mentioned in Los Angeles, interestingly enough, had no lesions. But coming back to this idea of having animals crawling around under your skin, just the thought of that makes my skin crawl.
Oh, yeah.
But when they go to medical professionals like MDs or dermatologists, they're told and diagnosed with what's called delusions of parasitosis, which means that you're nuts and you think that you have
little animals crawling under
your skin.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
The truth is, they actually do have animals running around under their skin. And I know this because I've spent many hours videotaping the exodus of these critters from the human body after the victim has taken Nutrasilver.
And so the Nutrasilver has kind of driven them out.
Exactly. We don't fully understand the mechanism as to why that is. We know that Morgellons victims have spent thousands and thousands of dollars taking every kind of exotic antibiotic known with very, very little result. But we also know that people with Morgellons that take the Nutrasilver, their symptoms are reversed quite quickly. Many times we hear that people feel better within 24 hours to 36 hours. They'll find within the first week their cognitive abilities return, their ability to think and reason and clarity of thought return. Their fatigue goes away. In terms of the feeling of the animals biting, that's different from person to person. But generally speaking, they begin to get their lives back. One of the worst neurological symptoms is severe depression. Unfortunately, it's often followed by suicide. As far as we know, the only known deaths attributable to Morgellons are suicides. Probably the most hideous thing I've ever witnessed in my life was the first person that we gave Nutrasilver to took it upon herself to take a very large dosage of Nutrasilver. She took 150 drops 3 times a day for 3 days. And at the end of the second day, I get a phone call in the middle of the night, and I race over there, and this woman is in the dark in her bathtub with all of her clothes on, screaming hysterically. And when I turned the light on, I could see hundreds upon hundreds of these critters fleeing directly out of her eyes, out of her nose, from around her mouth, out of her ears, from under her nails. It was in her stool and urine for over a week.
Now, how big are these animals?
Well, the ones that you can see obviously are visible by the naked eye. It's impossible for me to answer that question. I don't know what to compare it to. Some of these critters are as tiny as a speck of pepper. And some of them, we've pulled some fibers. I didn't mention the fibers yet, but we've pulled fibers out of people that were 6 to 8 inches long.
Are these creatures are they sort of like worms, or are they insectoid? Are they some kind of...
Some look like worms, some look like mites, some look like ticks, and it varies from patient to patient.
So where are the incubation of these creatures? I mean, you say that Morgellons is coming from the upper atmosphere and everybody's been exposed to it, but I mean, how does this disease incubate in the body, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Well, it's interesting that you ask that because recently science has finally recognized certain new diseases like fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. And those are actually early symptoms of Morgellons.
Oh, man.
Because left untreated as time goes on, and most people have had Morgellons for many, many years and don't even know it, the last symptom that shows up is these lesions, and it's pretty hard not to see those. And the pain associated with these lesions is absolutely excruciating. So as far as we can tell, we haven't found any other product that has had any real efficacy against Morgellons. And what we know for sure is that people who take the product as directed get their lives back. If you were a woman and your face and your arms were covered with lesions, you're not going out in public. And so what happens is the victims begin to cocoon. And since the medical professions have told them that they're delusional, the family backs away, the friends back away, these people lose their jobs, they lose their cars, they lose their homes, and they become isolated and severely depressed.
It sounds like
I'm happy to report that, generally within 7 to 10 days, almost everybody that has Morgellons and takes Nutrasilver, their depression, anxiety disappears, and their energy comes back, and they're able to think and remember again.
It almost sounds like Morgellons is some kind of new form of leprosy, because that's what people did back in those days when people had leprosy. They hid them away, and they went into caves and to camps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I think that's a very fair analogy. Probably one that's a bit more current is 30 years ago, people would go to doctors and they'd talk about all these infections and diseases that they were getting, and there was no rhyme or reason for it. And they were locked up in the nut house. They were told them that doesn't exist, go away, there's nothing to it. And today we know for sure what it is. It's called HIV and it's called AIDS. And so Morgellons victims are treated the same way that the AIDS victims were 30 years ago. Now we know clearly that AIDS exists, and they have spent billions of dollars creating exotic drugs to fight that off.
Very interesting. I just want to back up a little. I want to back up a little bit and talk about your role in this Nutrasilver. What got you involved in it? What encouraged you to go this route and to find out about it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. There's a gentleman by the name of Chuck Veach, and Chuck and I have been personal friends for quite a number of years, a great deal of affection and trust between us. And he is the manufacturer. He and his partner are the manufacturer of this product. My background is not medical. I'm an international telecommunications consultant, having consulted with governments and multinational corporations in Asia and in Europe. And so the last thing I ever wanted to do was this. But I was helping Chuck promote his product internationally because I have a great deal of experience with international marketing. So I happened to be at this woman's house, Connie. By the way, you can see her personal video at a website called morgellonshope.com. That's MorgellonsHope.com, right on the front page. And I happened to be sitting there working on her computer, and I couldn't help but notice these lesions all over her, and I asked her what they were. And at that point in time, neither one of us had ever heard the word Morgellons. But she started telling me her story, how she'd been to all these doctors, and they threw her out, and they told her she was nuts, and they, charged her for all these visits and sold her all these drugs, and nothing helped, and that she was extremely depressed and probably going to kill herself. And I said, well, I don't know anything about this, but I've got some samples of a product we've been selling overseas in my car. It's non-toxic, and it's a natural mineral, and can we just try it? And she said, sure, I'll try anything. So I went and got a bottle and put 2 or 3 drops on the back of her left hand and didn't think anything of it and went back to work. About an hour later, we both looked at her hand, and we looked at each other, and we said, my God, what happened? Jay, all of the redness and swelling around those huge lesions was gone in an hour.
Wow, in an hour?
We said, what happened? We had no idea. We were dumbfounded. And so we kept watching, and the next day, having suffered for years and years and years with these lesions, the next day she calls me and she says, Russell, these lesions are healing. Because the lesions never heal. There's no way to heal them. But these were healing. And 2 or 3 days later, she calls me up and she says, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is that the healing is continuing. The bad news is I have new lesions on my lower arm. So we put some Nutrasilver on those lesions on her arm, And 3 days later, those were healing nicely, but now we got new lesions on her upper arm. And we finally realized that this is the wrong treatment protocol, that putting the Nutrasilver on the lesions did nothing but spread it around and probably forced it deeper into the body. Ooh. And it was at that point in time that we recognized that the only way to really go after this thing was to take it orally and push this disease out from the inside. And that's precisely what we did. And if you go to that website that I sent you the link, have you gone there to the Brandy link?
Yeah, I have actually, and that's up in our chat room right now. That's http://brandytwirl.multiply.com/photos/album/1.
You may want to just post that link on your site because no one's going to get it. But what I did with Connie's permission was we took a tremendous amount of still and videos, and what you'll see on that site is pictures of her lesions. So there'd be a picture of her left hand with the lesions, and then the next picture is her left hand with no lesions, and the elapsed time between that was 3 weeks. And you'll see, I don't know, close to 100 pictures there, and if you scroll down and look carefully, there's several pictures of those critters that came out of her. There's quite a few pictures of the fibers that came out of her. And once you're done looking at those, you can click on a link called video. And we actually took a video for, 10 minutes of this one creature that just sat there and moved around, and you could actually see its young moving around what appeared to be a parent. And we videotaped that for about 10 minutes. And, I mean, this, if anyone out there in the audience thinks this is too bizarre, this is too science fiction, I wouldn't even see this on Outer Limits, well, that's precisely how we feel. But what we know for sure is that it all is all real, because you cannot videotape a delusion.
That's true.
You can't photograph a delusion. And I'm not talking about just Connie, because I have literally talked to hundreds and hundreds of people around the world who are buying Nutrasilver and getting healed. I mean, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, China, Mongolia, Central and South America. Europe is completely drenched in this. The hot spots in the United States are Texas, Florida, and California. And that's becoming less true, because I deal with many of the research scientists who are investigating Morgellons, and they're telling me that there's, in the United States, at least 10,000 new identified victims every day.
Wow.
Every day. And this one doctor I'm working with, I'll mention her name, Dr. Hildegard Staninger in Los Angeles, has spent 30 years of her life as an industrial toxicologist, so this is her field. And she's made tremendous headway in identifying what this invading pathogen is. And she believes that in a few months we're going to see a way of killing it off properly. But she goes to work in the morning, she takes the train, and in the early morning light she can see the Morgellons floating in the air. And when she looks at the passengers on the train, because she's been studying and researching this for so long, she can clearly see that at least 50% of the people on the train are obviously infected with Morgellons.
Well, how does one protect themselves from this if they don't have it yet?
We don't know that.
Okay.
There is any way of protecting yourself. The theory is that this has been deliberately released into the upper atmosphere, and that's why it's global very quickly. And since it's in the atmosphere, it settles down to Earth. Some victims direct skin contact, some victims inhale it, and the rest of it goes into the water and food supply.
Now that's a very interesting point that you bring up, that this disease was deliberately released in the upper atmosphere. It goes back to my original question of the origin of Morgellons and where it came from, and was it some kind of a genetic mutation or what? But
well, let me try and Dr. Hildegard Staninger. I'm sure I'm going to get it wrong, but
okay.
The essence of what she says is this: Morgellons is a man-made nanomachine invader. This is a product of genetic engineering at the atomic level, where they've actually engineered molecules to duplicate themselves and have some sort of a collective intelligence. And everyone who has Morgellons that I talk to can sense this other intelligence within inside themselves.
Wow.
Now, this infection or invader, if you will, has the ability to use the host's DNA and protein in their body, but mostly carbohydrate, to replicate itself.
Now, you're sure, or she's sure, I guess this is man-made, this couldn't be some kind of extraterrestrial kind of...
Well, Dr. Staninger has explored that as well. There was a meteor presented to her, and while there were some indications that Morgellon was on the meteor, she concluded that it was transferred by human touch, that it was not inherent in the meteor. But here's the thing that actually nails this. As an industrial toxicologist, she had been working with various governments around the world in nanotechnology and very easily recognized the technology.
Huh. Well, Russell,
this is just
this is great.
plain
I'd like
scary.
to have you on again. We're going to have to. We've got another guest getting ready to come on here in just a little bit, but I'd definitely like to have you back on sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, we can't.
Right
we
at
didn't
the
even really
climax.
get in. Yeah, we really
Yeah.
didn't get into to everything that we talked about earlier. Just briefly that you and I talked about earlier today. But I'd definitely like to have you back sometime soon.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
With your permission, I'd like to have just a closing comment.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, sure. Go
Those
for it.
listeners out there, if you have any of the symptoms or more than a couple of the symptoms that we mentioned, you're in the early symptomatic stages of expressing Morgellons disease. And for those of you who have it full-blown and are feeling hopeless, I want you to know and understand that you do not have to be hopeless. There is a safe and effective treatment for Morgellons that's incredibly inexpensive, non-toxic, and will literally give you back your life. You don't have to commit suicide. And I know there's people listening to me right now that are absolutely hopeless and figure that's the only way out. The reality is you don't want to kill yourself. You just want the pain to stop. And when you take that Nutrasilver, you will find that you will get your life back very, very quickly, and that your health will return to you, and you'll be absolutely delighted beyond belief. So I want to thank both of you for having me on your show. It's been
Absolutely.
wonderful, and happy to come back if I get invited.
Definitely.
Okay,
Well,
certainly.
happy Veterans Day as well, Russell.
Well, thank you. Being a Vietnam veteran, that means a lot to me.
All right. Thank you so
Excellent.
much for coming on the show tonight.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, sir.
All right, good night.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Russell
Wow.
Altman. That's
Just-
some,
I mean,
that's
yeah,
some
just the-
amazing stuff.
just
I'd
the-
never even heard of this stuff.
Just at the meat of the, when we started getting into the thing is engineered and it's nanomachine. Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it really started. Gosh, we need to get him back.
I know, definitely.
point.
I noticed that, when it first started talking about water purification and stuff, I saw some of the eyes rolls. I'm not going to mention any of the eye rollers in this room, but I was like, who did Scott get on talking about purifying water? Yeah, I told you to get better. I told you it would.
So I wonder if they were spread throughout the atmosphere intentionally.
Yeah, who
To
knows?
sell skin cream.
In all honesty, man, who knows half this stuff that's out there that was put out intentionally?
That's a good point. I mean, when you think about
It's a
our
perfect market for the perfect product.
Yeah, our medical science is so advanced in such a way that legitimately any kind of disease could be released into the general population, and we really wouldn't know about it, and that's really kind of scary, actually.
It must be a conspiracy between Johnson & Johnson and Jergens.
Johnson and Johnson.
Speaking of Johnson and
one
Johnson,
part of Johnson and the other
A three-way
and the other
conspiracy.
and Jergens.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway,
Speaking of Johnson and Johnson,
interesting.
never mind. I'm not even going to go there. Anyway,
Okay.
no, it wasn't like that. Gosh. I was just going to say the Johnson and Johnson, one of those guys, man, died I don't remember, a couple decades ago, I believe in the 90s. And I remember reading part of his will in our wills, trust, and estates class in law school, because the family was having this big fight over the will and all the money that was, you know how all those things go.
One of the Johnsons.
Yeah, pretty wild.
What was the guy? Procter and Gamble supposedly was contributing huge amounts of sums to the Church of Satan.
Good God, who knows?
I don't know if that's true or not, and that might just be some kind of crazy.
Well, listen, guys, we're getting ready to take off here for 5 minutes for the news on some of the affiliates. But check this out. When we come back, we're going to have actor Michael Bailey Smith with us. He's from The Hills Have Eyes and The Hills Have Eyes 2, and he's also been in a lot of other stuff. And we're going to talk with him here in just a little bit on World of the Unexplained. But I guess we're going to end up checking out of here. So call in if you feel the need. When we have Michael Bailey Smith on, the number here is 877-722-7382 or 877-SCARE-YOU2. And we'll have a nice little chat. So he can't stay too long with us, but at least we'll get him on for a little bit and see what he's thinking.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, we will be back in just a little bit after this. Here's the news.
This is World of the Unexplained. I am Trent Lackey. Over there is Jay Scott. We will be talking to Michael Bailey Smith, who was in The Hills Have Eyes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's done a lot of.
You like my dramatic phone voice?
The dramatic voice.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of other stuff too.
Nice.
He was most recently a skinhead prisoner in My Name Is Earl. Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff that I was going through here. Desperate Housewives.
Yeah. She Spies.
The OC.
She Spies.
Charmed.
One that I saw that Chuck would actually really like, probably Malcolm in the Middle. That's a good show.
That is a good show. Wait, let's see who he was. He was Hal in Hal Coaches.
Roswell. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I've seen Roswell a couple of times.
Mech Warrior 4.
I haven't seen that. No.
Martial Law, one episode. I'm trying to find the one. It was like some kind of Star Trek thing.
That was a pretty good series. Actually, that may be what you're thinking of. That was kind of a sci-fi.
Well, no, I was thinking. There it is. Star Trek Voyager, Alien 1.
Oh,
96. I knew you would like that.
Very cool.
You're a big Star Trek
I'll have
guy.
to ask him about that.
Yeah. Well, he's with us now. Michael Bailey Smith. How you doing?
How are you, sir?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm on 5 going south in Los Angeles trying to get to acting class.
Yeah, I heard you didn't have much time to spend with us tonight, and I really appreciate you taking the opportunity and the time to come on the show.
No problem, sir.
Now
My pleasure.
You were in The Dream Child. I noticed this Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh man,
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I've got your whole bio here, man. I'm looking through it.
Oh.
What your latest work that a lot of our listeners would know would be from The Hills Have Eyes 1 and 2. How did you like working on that?
We may have just lost him.
Michael, you with us? Good old cell phones in L.A. Well, we're going to get D to try to get him back online with us. And
The Dream Child, man.
Yeah,
that's a classic.
Is The Dream Child the one where Freddy Krueger has the claw and he's playing Nintendo?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and he's controlling the stoner guy, and he's making him jump and hit his head into the ceiling.
Well, that's The Dream Child's the one where the guys, like the karate guys, beating the crap out of him. Is that the same one?
The one I'm thinking of also has Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold in it.
Really?
Yeah, and a very small cameo. They're at like a carnival. It's very creepy, actually.
I haven't seen those films in so long.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think D's talking to him now. We got him back? Okay. Michael, you with us?
Yes, sir. I guess all those people following you for Verizon didn't follow me through this one little underpass. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to shoot the guy with the glasses. He's not doing his job.
I know. What's up with that? I know.
Can you hear me now? No, I can't.
Yeah, definitely.
So we want to talk about The Hills Have Eyes. How did you like doing those movies?
It was great. I mean, I don't know when I got cut off, but I played the character Pluto, which was in the original, the one in the 70s version of The Hills Have Eyes, that was played by Michael Berryman, and he's a pretty recognizable character. So, I had a lot to live up to, and but the director, Alex Aja, asked me not to watch the original film because we had a totally different take on the character. And I didn't. And the film is just different. To me, it's a much better, scarier, more up-to-date totally kick-butt film, and I love the character because he's a character that had this incredible rage, but then this childlike demeanor, which I love, and that's kind of like me in real life. And when you drive the 405 freeway traffic, that's all you are most of the time. Let me tell you.
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said sometimes when you see a good-looking girl, you got the childlike demeanor, but then when some guy's cutting you off, you want to rip his head off. So it's all that.
Wonderful traffic in California. Yeah. So now, how did you come across meeting Ethan Dettenmeyer?
Ethan, gosh. Oh, I was at a convention. It's kind of crazy when you start doing some of these horror films. For some reason, people want to send you to these strange places to sign autographs for people. And they pay you a little money, and it's kind of nice to show up and do that. And I went to one, and he was there. He was promoting a film called St. John Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And he came up to me and said, hey, heard you did a good job in Hills, and my name's Ethan, and hopefully someday we can work together. So, and that's what we're doing now. He and I are collaborating on a couple things. I also write screenplays.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
That we're working on. Yep.
Now, what is this thing I see here? It's a Jonathan Moon Alien Attack. It says it's completed. You're Lieutenant Detective Dan Houston. Can you tell me anything about that?
Yeah, it's I play this detective who's basically sold the rights of Earth to this alien nation of sorts, and so the alien people have come to collect their debt kind of situation, and I'm trying to get my piece of western part of the United States. I'm going to own that when I'm done.
California.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Awesome. So when is that scheduled to be released?
I don't know. I think it's going to go straight to DVD. So
okay.
I personally think so. Yeah.
Okay.
There's another one I did called Careless with Tony Shalhoub and Colin Hanks. That's Tom Hanks' son. And I play his gay, strange neighbor. Colin Hanks wakes up in his kitchen and finds a finger, the severed finger, and he's trying to figure out where it came from. And he thinks that I had something to do with it because I'm all into S&M and I have like an Iron Maiden and a bit of nails in my...
Oh, man.
If he only knew. So,
yeah.
Now,
anyway, go ahead, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
No, so he comes to find out that, he finds a girl who's missing a finger. He falls in love with her and tries to match a finger up with her. It's kind of a quirky, dark comedy. Pretty good.
That reminds me of that film that came out a few years ago, that Idle Hands. Did you guys ever catch that?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
By the way you're laughing, I know you did, Michael.
There you go. Yeah.
That was a weird film.
Did it have Jack Black in it?
I don't know. I just remember, it's been so long since I've seen it. I just remember the kid chopping his hand off, and the hand took on a mind of its own, doing all these bad things, committing murder and things.
Right.
Yeah. Weird film. Yeah.
Or I think The Big Lebowski. I think there was some.
That was a strange movie too.
Digit severing there as well. I think it was a toe maybe.
No. Anyway, is Tony Shalhoub a real jerk, or is he a real nice guy like he pretends to be?
No, he's actually a pretty cool guy. I actually, I've been doing this for a while, about 17 years, and I've done about 40 films and about 80 episodes of television or some kind of crazy amount. And I did a TV show called Wings, and he was on that show.
Oh yeah,
I've watched Wings all the time. That was a pretty good show.
I played Jafra, this guy from the sister city of Nantucket, where I guess they're from. And so we got to know each other. I actually hooked him up with a personal trainer because I used to train at Gold's in Venice, and so I hooked him up with a personal trainer there. I don't think he trains there anymore, but that was kind of interesting. Oh, he's a real nice guy.
Oh, awesome. We see you were in. Gosh, you've been in a lot of stuff. Murphy Brown, Malcolm.
First sitcom.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That was my first sitcom.
Wow.
I have tons of respect for actors who work on sitcoms because you talk about having to work your butt off. And they're so talented, and they're on their toes. I mean, it's incredible. So.
Well, the things. Let's see here. Malcolm in the Middle, another great show. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Nash Bridges.
Yeah, I love Nash Bridges. It was awesome.
That was a great show. That really was a great show.
Yeah, I got to work with what's his name? Detective Dominguez. What's his name? Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was awesome.
I bet. The OC. Here we go. Desperate Housewives. I guess the most recent one people would know besides Desperate Housewives would be the My Name is Earl show that's on now.
I just finished another episode of that. I've done 4 episodes of My Name is Earl.
Wow.
Cool.
How do you like working on that set?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's nice when they call you up out of the blue and say, hey, you want to, do an episode. It's great. So I play a racist, a skinhead. I guess racist comes with being a skinhead. So so it's pretty cool. I always have something racist to say about something. So
no, you've been keeping really busy. You're definitely a working actor. I mean, what did you do before you got into acting, or is this something that you've always just done as a career that you picked up immediately? Did you do something before this, or what?
Well, I mean, I started out after college. After high school, I went in the military for a few years and was in the 82nd Airborne as a paratrooper. And then I got out and I wanted to play college football, so I walked on at Eastern Michigan and did that for a while and got pretty good. And then ended up with the Cowboys in '85 and went to camp with them and they blew my knee out. And I know. So every day I was going against Randy White and Too Tall Jones, so that was always very cool. And Tom Landry and Tony Dorsett and all those guys. So I'm grunting right now because I'm trying to change lanes without running anybody. So sorry.
Take your time.
Grunting comes along with driving in L.A. So and then after I finished that, I went back, got my degree, then kind of fell in love with some dumb girl and moved out to San Diego and California and was out there training, got into bodybuilding, competed a couple times. And then there was a friend of mine who was, he dabbled in acting, and he said, hey, I'm going up to Los Angeles for this movie called Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. You want to come? I said, okay. Went up there, and by accident, I ended up getting the role. And
I was a friend about that.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing you next time.
That's pretty much it, yes. It was a quiet ride home, let me tell you.
I bet. Oh, my gosh.
Bet so. I got the part. What'd you get? Oh, nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Oh, I see.
So you just led a really exciting life.
Yeah, seriously.
This is amazing.
Yeah, I've been any opportunity that, as long as I'm not getting naked and running down the middle of Hollywood Boulevard, I'll pretty much do anything, so I'm okay.
All right. Is there any particular favorite roles that you played that you enjoy that over the years?
I really like the character on Nash Bridges. I played a character by the name of Officer Mike Willis, and he was just like over-the-top traffic cop, and just so much fun. I did 2 episodes of that, and I just loved it. They were going to have me back, but then they canceled the show. They stopped the show, but he was really fun. There was a couple of B movies that I'd done. One called Whatever It Takes. Now, in this film, everybody has to have 3 names. So there was Michael Bailey Smith, there was Don the Dragon Wilson, Fred the Hammer Williamson, and Andrew Dice Clay. So, everybody had to have 3 names in this film. And that was a great character. I love that character. I don't know. I love Pluto. I love all my characters. I really do. It's so hard to get an acting job, and then when you get one, it's like you just cherish and don't want it to ever end. So there's nothing that I haven't liked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You played Balthazar on Charmed.
Oh, yeah, D, our producer, said you played Balthazar in Charmed.
Yes, I did.
What was that like?
Oh, that's awesome. I got to work with the 3 girls.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's a nice set to work with,
Yes, I mean, it's pretty nice. And let me tell you, they're hot little chicks. They're all about 5 foot, but they're got hot little bodies, and they're good actresses, and just great gals. Great, really nice ladies. I played Balthazar. I also played 3 other characters. I played Jan Orr, this Grimlock dude, and I played the Source, and I played Shax, who actually killed Shannon Doherty off the show. And everybody's always said to me,
we're always happy about that.
Thank you so much. I'm like, what? She was always nice. She always thanked me. I'm like, I don't know why. But,
wow. A show I'd like to see you on would be Boston Legal, man. That would be
yeah.
Do the reunite thing there with Candice Bergen. But yeah,
that would be nice. I don't think she. Yeah.
You don't think she what?
I don't know if she remembered me. I was like a crazy pirate dude in the so.
Everybody remembers the crazy pirate dudes, man.
Who doesn't remember the crazy pirate dude?
Well, I played her secretary on one of the shows. She walks up to me and she goes, "Will you file this, please?" I go, "Oh, I will file this because no one can file this folder better than me." Then I go on this whole big tirade. You know how Candice Bergen, how she always had her wacky secretaries. Well, I was one of her wacky secretaries.
No.
That's awesome.
That's pretty fun, though. Wow.
And I see also Land Pirates here. Speaking of pirates, what in the world was this?
Which one?
Oh, okay, never mind. That was an episode of Nash Bridges.
That was an episode name, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was going, wait a minute.
Pirates.
What is this? Yeah. And 7 Days, I think Chuck's been a... you're familiar with this, Chuck?
Was that the Fox miniseries?
That was one where they have to go back in time 7 days to correct something that someone did something.
Oh, I remember.
That was a pretty good
remember
show,
that.
actually. It was UPN, I think, that did that one.
Yep. Yeah, I played the character name Captain Brenneman. I was this Black Ops commander, so it was
Very
kinda
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's nice when you get to play a military guy.
Best of the Best 3, no turning back.
Oh.
You remember all those Best of the Best movies, guys.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I've got all of them, actually.
I think
There was a while there I did nothing but movies with numbers in them.
Cyborg 3.
Cyborg 3, Best of the Best 3. I did the Fantastic Four. You see that there?
I see that.
Oh, wait a minute. 1994, that doesn't make any sense. Well, you're actually talking to the original Ben Grimm.
Really?
Is that so?
Wow.
That was going to ask about that.
There was an actual Fantastic Four was made in 1994 and was shelved. All the political stuff was going on, and so the reason why they wanted to hold on to the rights, a guy named Bernard Eichlinger from New Constantine, German production company. So they hold on the rights so they can make a bigger, nice, fancier version and put pretty people in it. So
what happened
man.
to it? Was it ever released to DVD, aired on cable or anything?
it's shelved, and you go to the nearest comic book store, and you ask the guy, hey, man, you got a copy of the Fantastic Four? You want the original? Yeah. It's like, dealing with crack. You can find a copy somewhere if you ask the right people.
Jeez, that's insane.
Wow, that seems kind of an interesting little hunt then.
Especially when
I
they...
had hair back then. I was pretty.
Well, especially when you see some of the crap that they do put out. I remember I didn't see the film, but I'd heard a lot of bad things about the Captain America movie.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The first one was really bad.
It was. I heard it was so bad that the people who were like
paid to see the screening left.
Yeah,
didn't collect the cash, and I haven't seen it, so I can't really give an opinion on it. But when you hear about stuff like that, and then you saw what they did with the Punisher movie with what's his name, Jane? Help me out, guys.
Yeah.
Tom Jane, is that it?
Yeah.
They released that one, but then before that, they had released one years before. I can't remember. Was it Dolph that was playing that?
And they didn't have Marvel's permission, I think, to
Oh,
use,
that's
use
why.
No wonder it was such a blasphemous.
But you
film.
said they put two of those out, and I was just thinking, man, gosh, what that would have done in 1994. That would have been a really great film.
They didn't have the special effects to pull it off then.
The visual effects on our film. You had $1 million budget. What do you expect? It came out the year later. I think Jurassic Park came out. So, you can only do so much. And I think it did most of the visual effects on a PC. But the actors gave it their best. And I thought the story was really good. And but it's just it is what it is. So but it was a great experience for me. I loved it. I loved playing a superhero, and it was totally kicked butt. So
that's awesome. That's really awesome. So you're on your way to acting class right now.
Yes, sir, I am, and I'm trying to cut people off. I'm almost there.
Okay.
It's all good.
So
it's all good stuff. No, I'm okay.
A guy.
I
was just gonna say, a guy with this much experience still going to acting class.
Oh, you have to, because you always got to continue to learn and keep your chops up and keep your tools very sharp, and that's. I just cut somebody off or ran somebody over. Okay. But I'm still talking to you. That's all that counts.
That's all right. This tape will not be used against you. I promise.
Absolutely.
Really good.
We'll edit that part out.
Yeah, I love acting class. It's great to and I get to do things because professionally I play bad guys all the time. It's great stuff, and I try to add something always a little different, but still acting class I get to really stretch myself and do things that I normally don't get to do.
Wow. How many people are
scenes and stuff like that?
How many people are in your acting class?
I think there's like 20 or 30. It's pretty good.
So they keep it really small and kind of.
Actually, that's a pretty good sized class. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
So what's next on the itinerary for you? What are you working on now?
Well, actually, I just booked something today. You'd be very excited to know. I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything, though. But I can say that January 14th, I start production on another film called Bloodshot.
Okay.
Okay.
It's about a vampire that works for the CIA.
Oh, okay.
And the Al-Qaeda terrorists are trying to take over Los Angeles, and it's my job to stop them.
Cool.
And there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of guts, and the premise is you drink their blood after you kill them before they come back. So
wow.
That's the thing. So
That sounds like fun.
Got lots of guns and blood and everything else, and it kicks butt. Then there's another film I just booked today, which I start in a couple weeks, and it's from the producers of The Saw. And it's a whole horror franchise that's going to be starting, and I play the lead character, the lead bad guy in it.
Oh, wow.
I can't tell you the name. I wish I could because I haven't got permission yet.
That's okay. That's okay.
Talk about.
But just to know that the guys from Saw did it, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole series of films coming out for that. So, and I'm going to be the main man.
Awesome.
That's good to hear.
Well, Michael, we're going to let you get to acting class. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Oh, no, thank you. It was a pleasure. And call me anytime.
All right, we'll definitely do that. We'll have you back on soon.
All right, cool.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay.
Take care.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Michael Bailey Smith,
Wow,
guys. That was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Hey, I also played on Babylon 5.
Babylon 5, yeah, I pointed that out to Chuck.
I don't think we even got to the
Star Trek.
the sci-fi stuff.
Well, he was on X-Files as well, I noticed.
I didn't see that.
He's hit up all the sci-fi, franchises.
What was he on the X-Files? We didn't ask him. Never mind.
Yeah, well, I guess not.
We'll
he
have him
was
back
Alien
later.
number 1 on Voyager.
Yeah, I saw
Alien
a
number-
two-part episode.
I never watched Voyager.
We'll have him back on later. He was a fun guest.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, totally.
I like fun guests.
Being able to have the interview like that while driving on the freeway.
all of our guests tonight have been good.
Yep.
Although we still don't know which Nightmare on Elm Street it was, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, a lot of times
we'll
they just
that.
sort of blur together sometimes. You know?
They do. What?
Nightmare on Elm Street number 5.
Well, that doesn't tell me.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
It's number 5. Okay, great.
Okay.
That's the one before. I was gonna say it's the one before the Final Nightmare.
Is that the one where
he's all evil?
It's a script. Is that the one you're
Yeah,
talking about?
Yeah, and he comes out of the script and whatnot.
He's the one he plays like Super Freddy. You know when Freddy was the superhero. The superhero Freddy.
No, I'm so
no.
The kid was in the wheelchair, but he was able to walk in his dreams.
Huh.
He was the wizard.
That was part 3. That's part 3. That's
yeah.
part 3.
That was
That's part 3.
the insane asylum. They brought back one of the original cast members, the woman from the very first one.
Oh.
But yeah, that one actually 3 may be one of my
favorite
my
nightmares.
favorite ones as far as the sequels are concerned.
Yeah.
I actually like that
As far
one.
as favorite nightmares,
But I mean,
are
you
concerned,
know,
Chuck's favorite
Nightmare on Elm
nightmare.
Street is just, the whole series is worlds better than Friday the 13th. The only Friday the 13th I ever liked was the very first one. And
Really?
That was it.
Yeah,
the rest
that
of them
one's
were
pretty
just
good.
pointlessly stupid and, just
There's nothing-
bumbling, shambling bad guys just doesn't do it for me. Michael Myers, okay, he looks kind of cool, but Jason's so predictably whatever,
Yeah.
I realize that Michael Myers and Jason are pretty, similar in attitude, but
Jason's such a prima donna anyway, man.
yeah, with that hockey mask and messed up face. Come on.
That's it. Well, look, guys, we're going to take our final break for the night, and we'll be back with you here in just a second on World of the Unexplained. You're listening to us live. We'll be back in a sec.
And we're back, World of the Unexplained. Gosh, we had some great guests,
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, Chuck.
No, that's a pretty good lineup tonight, man.
I mean, seriously, when talking about a wide variety of things from nano-engineered diseases to Balthazar Uncharmed.
Well, we'll definitely have to have him back to talk more about nanotechnology.
Totally.
I mean, we only brushed on the surface of it. I wonder what he thinks was the cause, intentional or otherwise.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like almost like he was insinuating maybe that it was intentional. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to play it back. But
Yeah.
I think he may have actually even said that it's theorized that it was intentionally seeded into the atmosphere, released in the atmosphere.
And you know what? I mean, just talking about our own United States government, I mean, we've been known to do that before. Case in point, the Tuskegee experiment, if you remember correctly.
It may not even be intentional, too. I mean, are you familiar with strontium-90, which is the side effect of atom bomb, nuclear explosions?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It travels high, I think, into the ionosphere and actually attaches itself to, I think it's carbon atoms, or maybe it's calcium atoms. I'm not exactly sure. But, I mean, as a result from all the nuclear detonations, we have strontium-90, bonded
Just
to our
floating
teeth,
around.
in our and our bones. It's in the milk.
I want to see a toothpaste that will be able to get rid of strontium-90.
It ain't get the half-life of it, I think, is like 500 years or something like that. So it's going to be long around, even in us after we're dead and gone.
They probably didn't realize it at the time, that was one of the side effects.
I don't think that they actually realized it up until maybe it was the mid to late 70s, actually.
It's something else. We have a caller on the line?
Yeah, we have Mr. Rich Anders. I guess we'll bring him right on.
Mr. Rich Anders, how are you doing? Long time no hear from.
Well, I'm doing fine. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right, man.
Well.
I have a question which has nothing to do with your show. I can keep it short. On last week, I saw a show with Larry King and several UFO people, and they said that today in Washington, D.C., there was a press conference or something, a presentation of representative of 7 governments with respect to UFOs. You know anything about it?
This is the first I'm hearing about it.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Well, it might be very interesting for you to check it out because you're in that business.
What do you think they're possibly talking about? Maybe disclosing some of the information they have on it. Is that what you think?
That's what those people in the panel of Larry King are talking about. I was very surprised.
It would seem that way, yeah.
The Europeans have actually been pushing for it for a very long time, at least the last 10 years or so.
They said there's several European countries there.
Well, I know Denmark is one that's released military footage of their military jets tracking these things and videotaping them.
France, I think, also has released their...
I believe you're right.
And I think Canada has either done it or have been talking about it, so...
Well, I think that if that happened today, it's an incredibly big event.
I agree. You still have those skeptics out there, but still.
I nearly said screw those skeptics. You know how I call them? Not skeptics. I call them septics.
Septics.
Because every time one of those starts to talk, I get this smell in my nose. So I think it's much more appropriate to call them septics.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Rich, how's it going? Jay Scott.
I'm doing,
yeah.
Okay.
I just.
Is Jay there?
I just got here. I just walked back in.
Jay, did you have time to talk to your friend? Excuse me if I just cut into it like this. I'll be out in a minute.
Do I have time to talk to you?
You said you were talking to your friend about...
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to mention it to him yet, but I'll definitely be talking to him later tonight. Would you like me to call you back later?
Oh yeah, I'm always up until about 2:00.
Oh, okay. I'll call you. I'll call you back later tonight then.
Actually, what are you talking about today?
We've been all over the place.
Yeah, we've
today.
talked about a lot of different things.
Wait. Wait, hold on. I have to
Oh, that sounds like you.
That was me.
Yeah, I had to turn down my computer.
No problem. So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, we talked about this stuff called, have you ever heard of was it Magellan's?
Morgellons disease.
Morgellons disease. Have you ever heard of this stuff?
What? Magellan's disease?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
What about, what was it called? The cure for it?
Silver.
Nutrasilver.
Nutrasilver. Have you heard of a product called this?
What?
Silver.
Nutrasilver, yeah.
I think you guys are in a corner today of which I know nothing.
Okay.
So you better throw me out and continue with your game.
It's a cure for a nanotechnology parasite, apparently, that's 50% of the population.
Yeah, some kind of engineered... kind of an enginered parasite that's we've been exposed
that's
to.
Not my feed. I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Anyway, so I don't want to interrupt your show. If you get to know anything about that event today, Jay, please call me back because it's very important for me. I mean, you know who I am.
I do, and I will definitely get back in touch with you today, Rich.
After all, as the local agent for the Atlanteans, I need to know these things.
I understand.
That's true. I mean, you need to be kept in the loop.
We'll keep you in the loop, Rich. We appreciate you calling.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Bye, Rich. Oh, Rich.
What were y'all talking about before I came back?
Never a dull moment with him.
Oh no.
He wanted to know about I guess what they were discussing on Larry King
about
disclosure of UFOs.
Oh, with all the government.
Apparently that's what that conference he was referring to was rumored to be discussing.
Huh?
Unless that's some kind of elaborate ruse by the governments to propagate the airwaves.
Our government created an elaborate ruse.
No, I'm talking about MNCs and the world governments sending out elaborate ruses everywhere.
Gotcha.
Misdirection, obfuscation. I don't even know.
They're going to get all the whistleblowers out, man, and then ship them off to Siberia.
Right, and then destroy them completely, crush them.
And Chuck told me earlier today he was voting for Hillary.
Oh, please, dude! You just you're pulling stuff out of your backside.
I am. It's real bad. I just picked up the new. I just picked up the new Ann Coulter book today.
Oh, that's great.
I bet you did.
I did.
That's really exciting. She's an idiot.
No, she's not.
Yeah. Actually, she's many things, but she's not stupid.
She's not. She's playing this all up marketing wise. She's doing a great thing.
Oh, she is a hell of a I don't know. Publicist,
self-promoter.
Well, she's a shameless self-promoter.
Oh, heck yeah.
I mean, she definitely
so
knows,
are we.
Definitely knows how to pull the strings out there, man, to make things.
Oh yeah,
work for her. She
knows exactly what to say, when to say it.
Yeah, I'll give her that. I don't really like her though, or her views on the world, but
Wait a minute.
Otherwise.
I actually had something real good, and I don't think I have it. It was I'd heard about this. It was something that I think Ben Stein had said publicly today.
Ooh, Ben Stein.
About how he doesn't mind people. He's a Jew and didn't mind people saying Merry Christmas to him, and how he thinks that I believe this is Ben Stein, and I hope I'm not misattributing that. But about how he said that people of the faith, Jews and Christians alike, are sick and tired of people, basically going so far, politically correct wise. He said, I don't mind seeing a creche displayed. I don't mind a Christmas tree. I don't mind this. I don't mind that. And he says, I don't mind the Christians as long as they don't harass me about being a Jew and, that kind of thing.
I think I saw the same interview, actually.
Okay. So I think it has been Stein.
He was talking, basically about, I don't mind seeing that. Why don't you throw a menorah up there while you're at it? Something from the Muslim faith, the Hindu faith, just, make it all inclusive.
Call it Christmas Hanukkah.
Seriously.
Christmas Hanukkah.
That's right, Christmas Hanukkah. It's the brand new holiday.
You could cross-collateralize and think of how much money you could make in the private sector around Christmas, because you can include Hindus, Muslims.
Yeah, we're not going to don't leave anybody out. Merry Christmas Hanukkah.
Maybe you're not, but the real capitalists will.
They don't eat hamburger, man. You can't trust a man that doesn't eat a hamburger. There's just something un-American about that. That's right.
They're probably better off for it anyway. All the hormones.
You don't trust a man that don't eat a cheeseburger, dude. I'm sorry.
I don't know about worshiping the animal like a sacred object, but
I bet their colon's a lot lighter than yours.
That probably is.
So. all those chickpeas and vegetables that they eat, and of course you realize how incredibly thin they are. Though.
I don't trust Chuck. He don't eat hamburgers.
I eat plenty of hamburgers, and I'm not voting for Hilda.
I know. I'm just
pulling my chain over here. Yeah. All theirs, all your listeners.
Chuck, you Hillary supporter.
Obfuscating it.
Obfuscating. There it is again. There's that word.
Telling tall tales.
Tall tales.
Spinning yarns.
That's right.
But, I don't know. I think the whole notion about people being offended about this and that and the other about the holiday season is just kind of ridiculous.
They need to break it off. That's right.
Do everybody. Yeah. It's my opinion. I think it
say Merry Christmas every year.
Yeah, it just complicates things. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I'm sorry. But,
You're pagan.
Well, whatever you are, there's nothing wrong with you not celebrating.
You're un-American.
Christmas.
You're un-American. You don't celebrate Christmas. You're un-American. That's just bottom line.
Yeah.
What about all your people of the Judeo faith, man?
Un-American. What are you so offended about?
I'm not really offended. I just think it's
Gentiles sitting here.
Yeah, I just think it's
get all Gentile heavy in here.
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh my gosh, God. Crossing the line.
How many people can I piss off tonight? 877-722-732.
The thing is he's one of the biggest supporters I know for Israel. Him and Joe Lieberman.
Yeah, no, and I don't have a problem with the Jews. Honestly, I don't have a problem with the Jews. I don't have a problem with the Christians. The people I have a problem with are the Muslims. It's the Islamofascists.
He definitely has a problem with the Muslims. I can attest to that.
Who are the terrorists? The Muslims. All of them.
Tim McVeigh wasn't a Muslim. Neither were those guys who blew up cars in Northern Ireland all those years.
You're
weren't
starting to
Muslim.
sound like a liberal.
No, I'm not. I'm just getting a broader perspective of it. Yes, I agree. There are a vast majority
It's
of
because
Muslim
Tim
terrorists.
McVeigh had ties with the Muslims.
Actually,
what about the?
Oh, really? There we go.
Yeah, actually, there was a John Doe number 2 who was seen fleeing from the scene of the Oklahoma City bombing. He's reportedly a member of the actually Iraqi Republican Guard.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah,
interesting. But I mean, yeah, maybe that's where the training came from. I don't know. There's the whole.
I know that Terry Nichols didn't put together those bombs, though. That's for sure. I've seen him in a couple interviews.
I have too.
that guy would have blown himself up attempting it.
I'm trying to think of some other people. Shining Path Guerrillas in Peru. They're terrorists. They're not Muslim.
He's having to think real hard.
Speaking of
the
Muslims,
Black Hand, that's a perfect example, but that was about 100 years ago. The Black Hand, Gabriel.
I'm talking about now. I'm talking about current.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, terrorists are terrorists. Anybody who uses terror as a political weapon is a terrorist, right?
I guess so.
Okay, you don't have to be religiously motivated to be a terrorist. That's all I'm pointing out.
Dick Cheney's a terrorist.
Anybody who uses terror as a political move is a terrorist.
You guys are going to love this. I was listening to Alan Colmes. Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
Really?
Fox News is
really?
Actually, not even Fox News but really Sean Hannity's personal whipping boy.
Oh yeah, it's great. But no, this is on his own show where he gets to be the whipping boy.
And he sits there and berates people. Yeah, I've heard the show.
But
he's a bully.
It's awful. It's awful.
Alan Colmes is a bully on his own show.
Oh God! Yeah.
I mean, you sit there. Okay, Chuck. Why don't you ask me a question? Okay, I'll pretend to be Alan Colmes. Just say something about something.
That's his time to shine, and that's why he does it.
Here you go, Chuck.
Mr. Trent Lackey, why is it exactly that you're wearing that Hammerstein T-shirt tonight? Is it because you haven't washed your clothes?
What do you mean about Hammerstein? What do you mean about Hammerstein? It's not Hammerstein. It's Rammstein. It's Rammstein, not Hammerstein.
Oh, you're correct.
What are you talking about?
I apologize
Hammerstein.
for that.
Hammerstein. I mean, what are you? Some kind of a?
But sir, you would allow me just to
No.
speak
Well, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he's like, no. You listen to me.
No, you listen to me. Oh, this is Rammstein. It's black. It's German.
Cut his.
Pull the Michael Savage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty much what Alan Colmes does, basically.
He gets it's like, I guess because he gets so mad because he's picked on and just punked all week.
Yeah.
He feels he's got to take that out.
It's time to shine, man.
Yeah, he's got to take it out on his callers.
It's kind of ridiculous. It's bad radio. It's just like you just want to sit there and, I mean, there's no way you can argue with somebody like that who's got he just talks over you. That's not a conversation to me. That's not a radio show to me.
Why Air America couldn't get their hands on him?
I have no idea.
Maybe it was his contract with
I was going to
Fox.
say it probably was.
I mean, I'm not surprised, although Air America.
Well, no, I lost my thought now, though. I had about him because I'd heard him on the radio, and it said something that he said was just, he was talking to a guy about, oh man, now I just lost it again. I'm gonna have to think. It was really, like he does with everybody, how he berates everyone and doesn't let them actually get out what they
may
get out.
Unless they're agreeing with him.
Oh yeah, they're agreeing with him. He gives them all the time in the world.
Yeah, I mean that's real.
It must just be a result, though, of all that time he's beat down on that hour show.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
1 hour, 5 days a week.
It's like now he's it's like the guy that got picked on in high school that's the cop now. So if he sees you, and you were one of those guys that picked on him, he's he's the big bad guy now.
I mean, I hate to talk smack about him too. On top of all this, but he is one of these guys too that you can't imagine how did.
I remember what it is.
Okay,
now.
what was it?
He said he called. It was Alan Colmes that he called it was a terrorist or something like that. He called him a name, liar and something else, and he said something. He said something to the effect because he started out by calling it wasn't. It was one of the politicians or the president or something. I don't remember who it was. He started calling out. Maybe it was Hillary Clinton or no, Bill Clinton. He was talking about Bill Clinton being a rapist.
That
was it.
A rapist.
He called Bill Clinton a rapist. And so what happened? Then Alan Colmes,
the Catherine Willey incident, actually.
Oh,
I don't think he actually allegedly raped her though. But
Alan Colmes goes all off and tells him that he's committing libel on his show. All this stuff. This is defamation. He's basically bringing defamation on his show, and that it's
if Clinton weren't a public figure, maybe.
Exactly. I'm thinking New York Times V. Sullivan. So he gives all this false information to this guy, and then the guy calls him a liar or something like that. And then he goes off, sir, I'm reporting this phone call. I've got your number right here. I'm calling the FCC. I'm calling the, and he's
whatever.
Like, he's like, so you just have a good time because we've got your number and you just sleep tight tonight. And I'm going, oh my, let me on the line with you. I'll give you my number over the air.
Yeah, how about this? Bleep, 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 bleep.
Exactly. What a
come
jerk.
on.
Anyway, who we got on the line here? Rich Anders?
Yeah.
Again,
I can explain to you why liberals are the way they are, and you will finally understand why they talk the way they talk.
Thank God.
Let's hear it.
It just takes 1 minute, and you will know it. My father was the number 2 man in the Conservative Party of Austria at the, in Burgenland. This is a province.
Okay.
And after the war, when the Germans were gone and we were not oppressed anymore, which was terrible for our family, my father took me to political assemblies, and I listened to his opponents, who in Austria were called socialists, not liberals, and they were talking real. So I asked my father why they talk like this, and he said, listen, son, you will understand these people very well when you consider the following thing. When babies are born, some of them, not physically, but spiritually, the devil's in their head. And when
oh my gosh.
That has matured, and then when there are socialist leaders, or in your country, liberals, he said, what comes out of their mouth is verbal sewage. You understand that?
I do.
And he said, and they are incurable.
I think I have to agree with that.
Interesting perspective.
Now here comes the thing. My father never lied to me. He had no way to have any kind of scientific proof except experience of meeting so many socialists, where I found exactly that my father was right, because what these people were talking is verbal sewage. And lo and behold, I come to this country, I listen to the liberals, Eric Holmes and others. They talk verbal sewage too, so
it's socialism.
He must be right.
It's socialism masked by a party they call the Democrats.
No, it's a mental illness. My father told me it's a mental illness.
I agree with your father. Your father was a smart man, Rich.
Well, he was not for nothing number 2 in the Conservative Party of our province.
Wow.
He was a great man.
It sounds like it.
Yes, he was.
Very interesting.
Okay, so keep this in mind when you talk to a liberal. Realize that the devil, when this liberal was a little child, the devil's in his head. When he grew up, that has matured, and what comes out of his mouth is verbal sewage. Okay?
Okay,
keep that in mind.
We'll keep that in mind.
And spread the word. Everybody should know that.
I will definitely do that, Rich.
Have fun.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Wow.
So liberals have diarrhea of the mouth because they when they were little boys and girls, because the devil crapped in their heads.
In their heads, no less.
Oh,
that's you wonder where the devil uses the bathroom, and I guess that's where it is. Inside little babies.
Oh God. Oh God.
So you need to speak to a liberal in the way of like someone with other, like a schizophrenic maybe.
That was good. This has been a weird show tonight.
Well, it has been.
It's been action-packed.
Yeah. Pow! Blam! Oof.
Wow.
That's another one.
All right, guys. We'll be coming at you next Monday night with, I don't know who.
Bling!
I'm going to catch a website up this weekend. I promise. I was editing Johnny's book, You're Not a Democrat, You Just Think You Are. And it's now done. We're ready to send that puppy to the press. I've got a foreword on there. And so you guys got to buy it. It'd be a perfect. I don't think it'll make it out in time for Christmas, but
a stocking stuffer. Stocking
I don't
stuffer.
know.
What's
a January stocking?
Yeah, buy it in January in advance for next year.
Exactly.
You'll be all taken care of then.
That's right. Be sure to catch.
Buy a copy for each member of your family.
And catch Third Rail Radio, thirdrailradio.com. Check that out. Catch us next Wednesday night, 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you guys next week on World of the Unexplained, where we'll shamelessly plug Third Rail Radio again. Until then...
Amongst other things as well.
Amongst other things. Until then, this is Jay Scott, your only JD DJ on the OmniSound Radio 1 network, saying, sayonara.
Sayonara. This is Trent Lackey. We're coming to you from Kernersville, North Carolina. As always, Batman style. It's a small town where we talk about big things.
Mr. Chuck Browder.
We out!